going to say this up front. SpongeBob Squarepants is my favorite show of all time. Yeah, surprising, right? My list of favorite shows is filled with tons of epic, serious shows like The Walking Dead and Battlestar Galactica, and my favorite of them is SpongeBob. Unfortunately, if you've never seen the show, then you'll never understand.
And the unfortunate part isn't that you won't understand us. The unfortunate part is that you won't experience the absolute cleverness of this great cartoon. It was filled with timeless gags, it had unforgettable characters, sported great animation, inspired hundreds of memes, and boasted charming plots. The show truly rocked our childhoods, and it still gives us great laughs as teens nearing adulthood.
You talk about it like it's over.
Well, it is over.
I think it just got renewed for a 9th season.
It ended after season 4!
It truly was a shame that the series took an awful turn after the 4th season. I don't even think of it as SpongeBob anymore. I prefer to call it the Cubic Creeper and Friends. But we're not here to dwell on that. We're here to discuss the great episodes that we were given.
Though our great love for the show drove us to do this, we were also inspired heavily by MoBros, who was going to do a countdown similar to this, except it was a top 10, but cancelled it due to lack of interest. So we're here to carry the torch for him, and give everyone what they want. Now will you please stop giving him shit about it?
It was going to be a top 10 like he originally planned, but we made it a top 20 for 2 reasons. One, since MoBros' list of worst episodes was a top 20, we want to show that the ratio of good episodes to bad episodes isn't that different. And to show that the good episodes more than make up for the plethora of awful ones that were made. 2, there were so many good episodes in the show that we felt it would have been unfair to leave some of them out.
Starting with the worst of the best, we're going to go over each episode's plot, charm, climax, and what makes it great. Similar to Watcher of the 2000's Ed, Ed, and Eddie countdown, we're also going to list the highlight of each episode at the end.
So, in the words of my childhood icon, time to bring it around town.
Hey, settle down. Take it easy. What the scallop?
I'm a goofy goober! You're a goofy goober! We're all goofy goobers! Goofy, goofy, goober, goober!
In our opinion, one of the last episodes that held up to the original series standards was the first episode of the new seasons, Fear of a Krabby Patty. The episode starts off with Mr. Krabs telling his employees that he's putting longer business hours into effect. Squidward and SpongeBob react accordingly.
What? That is totally unfair!
Squidward's right. That's totally unfair. Couldn't we get to work earlier than 6 a.m.? Like 5:30 a.m.? Or 5 a.m.? Or 4 a.m.?
Zip it.
I'd like to bring up something here that many of the newer seasons lack, despite no one ever bringing it up. Unlike here, many of the newer episodes don't have the cartoony physics that the original episodes have. Recently, they have tried putting them back in the show, but not as much. Anyway, Mr. Krabs looks across the street and sees that Plankton has made an even bigger business movement.
The chum bucket opened 23 hours!
Mr. Krabs falls for this obvious trap and puts the Krusty Krab in 24-hour service. Plankton then orders a lifetime supply of Krabby Patties, which at first seems like a heavenly dream to SpongeBob, until the constant working takes its toll on him.
Well, I've seen worse mental hallucinations.
SpongeBob apparently worked for so long, he now thinks that everyone is a Krabby Patty trying to kill him. Mr. Krabs thus sends him into a fear therapist to get help. Unknown to him, though, is that the therapist is actually Plankton in disguise, and is trying to get him to reveal the Krabby Patty formula. After a few failed attempts, Plankton uses hypnosis to try to get SpongeBob to talk, which instead puts him into a nightmare.
However, things take a turn for the better when the giant Krabby Patty turns out to be friendly, making SpongeBob not afraid anymore.
Remember, SpongeBob, I'll always be with you. Right here.
In my heart?
Actually, in your arteries.
No longer fearful, SpongeBob happily goes back to work. As we said, this is one of the few post-movie episodes that felt like one of the old episodes, having the same charm with that the old ones had. The jokes were spot on, whether it be slapstick or dialogue-driven.
The moral, though subtle, is actually pretty good. It's trying to say that too much of a good thing is not really that good, and you can't overdo it. That, paired with the cleverness of this episode, made it one of the few new ones worth watching.
The highlight of this episode was Plankton's initial attempts at getting SpongeBob to talk.
And what are they made of?
Hatred.
No, I mean ingredients. What are the stinking ingredients?
They're coming for me. No, no, no! Stay back!
Wait, where'd you get that piano?
Goofy, 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 goofy!
A running theme in the show is SpongeBob's knowledge in karate. Probably the episode where this is portrayed the most creatively is Karate Choppers.
The first few minutes are some rather entertaining clips of SpongeBob and Sandy trying to outdo each other while sparring. Eventually, SpongeBob's constant awareness for Sandy causes trouble at the Krusty Krab, ranging from him just confusing Squidward's gender
Yes, ma'am. I mean, sir. I mean, boss. I mean, poobah.
to beating up a customer.
Thought you could sneak up on me at work, did ya? Well, you can't. 'Cause I'm fast, I'm mean, and I can do this.
It eventually gets to the point where Mr. Krabs threatens to fire SpongeBob if he does any more karate. After a brief misunderstanding with Sandy and Mr. Krabs almost firing him, the two decide to go to the park to take their minds off karate. No matter what they do, though, they can't seem to take their minds off it.
What do you want on your sandwich?
Karate.
What did you say?
Mustard? Mustard. I want mustard on my sandwich.
After a really fun scene that involves some hardcore sandwich making, they give in to their instincts and continue to spar. Until Mr. Krabs shows up, that is.
Oh, all right, Mr. Krabs, you caught me. But you know what? I just can't help myself. You're just gonna have to fire me.
Now, I personally really like this scene because it goes to show just how mature SpongeBob really is. I mean, sure, before when he got fired, he threw a tantrum, but that was because he didn't even know what was going on and didn't deserve it. Here, he knows that he screwed up and is ready to own up to it. Unlike nowadays, when he would just cry literally all day and night.
I thought we weren't bringing that up.
Sorry.
Anyway, Mr. Krabs decides to forgive them after he sees how efficiently they made their sandwiches. The episode ends with SpongeBob and Sandy making tons of Krabby Patties.
As we said, most of the enjoyment of this episode comes from how creative it is. The karate sequences are a joy to watch, and the jokes are pretty funny too. It takes a bit for the story to get going, and it doesn't really have a message to it, but it's easily overlooked because of how much darn fun you have watching it.
The highlight of this episode is the epilogue.
I love karate.
I love karate.
I love money. I hate all of you.
Goofy, 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 goofy!
As we said, there are a few episodes in Season 4 that people credit as being the last good ones. Probably the one that's gotten the most praise is Krusty Towers, apparently inspired by the television show Fawlty Towers.
After staying at a hotel with very high prices for everything, Mr. Krabs realizes that the big money is in hotel business. Thus, he turns the Krusty Krab into a hotel and has SpongeBob and Squidward as the bellhops.
Patrick suddenly decides to stay at the hotel because
Sometimes I just need to get away from it all.
Squidward is then subjected to all of Patrick's ridiculous demands, simply because Mr. Krabs ripped off the oath of the hotel he stayed at.
We shall never deny a guest, even the most ridiculous request.
Patrick's demands, though demanding and unreasonable, never feel too cruel, and it's very fun to see Squidward react to each one he has to do.
A bubble bath? Why would I give you a bubble bath?
Well, because Mr. Krabs said you would.
Okay, maybe even that would be too cruel.
Fed up, Squidward decides to quit and gives the greedy crustacean a taste of his own medicine. His demands are even more ridiculous than Patrick's, but they're even more fun to watch here, because Mr. Krabs really deserves it.
Too bad we couldn't take the elevator, but it is for guests only, and you are an employee.
He even goes so far as to have his room redesigned several times and have a pool installed inside his room. That, unfortunately, is what causes the hotel to get destroyed. They all end up in the hospital, where Mr. Krabs gets an even more devious idea.
Forget hotels! This hospital racket is where the money is!
This is a hospital?
Pack your bags, boys! You're going to medical school! Hooray! Oh boy.
This really is one of the last episodes that felt like the show we know and love. Mixing character relations with slapstick, the humor always felt spot on, and really was a joy to watch.
The highlight of this episode is when Squidward orders a Krabby Patty with certain ingredients on it.
I'd like a Krabby Patty with cheese, toenail clippings, and nose hairs. Oh, you've got to be kidding me! And I want it here in 5 seconds.
Yes, sir! Here you are, sir.
Well, Well, you got your stinky sandwich. Now eat it. Oh, I'm not gonna eat this. You are. What? You're out of your mind if you think I'm gonna eat that.
That's not really a Krabby Patty with cheese, toenails, and nose hair.
Oh, now I get you, boy. All right, Squidward. SpongeBob!
Sorry, Mr. Krabs. We were all out of cheese.
Hooray!
Gooby 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 Gabba!
Like Karate Choppers, there are some episodes that don't have a big plot or moral, but they just put the focus on humor. A prime example of this is the Nasty Patty.
This episode picks off with Mr. Krabs doing something until he realizes that the health inspector has arrived, here to do a checkup on the Krusty Krab.
If he finds one health violation, he'll close us down for good.
SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs make sure that the health inspector sees all the spit and polish that Krusty Krab has gone through, and it works well. That is, until they get this conveniently placed newsflash.
We interrupt this can-can for a special news bulletin. Be on the lookout for a man who's been passing himself off as a health inspector in order to obtain free food. That's all for now.
They immediately start suspecting the health inspector of being the fake and decide to get some old-fashioned frontier justice.
Seahorse radish, the gnarliest stuff in the ocean.
Oh, hold on. I've got a jar of toenail clippings in my office.
Wait, haven't we seen this before?
I'd like a Krabby Patty with cheese, toenail clippings, and nose hairs.
Oops, I dropped it in the toilet.
Well, fish it out, and I'll dry it with me gym socks.
Attention new writers, this is how you do a gross out joke. First of all, it doesn't look that visually disgusting, though I still would not ever want to put that in my mouth. Second of all, the health inspector doesn't actually eat it, he just chokes on a fly that flew into his mouth.
Listen, he ate it. Oh, look at him choke. Look at him suffer.
Wow, that's pretty evil.
They at first think it's all better now, until another conveniently placed news flash comes up.
We interrupt your laughter at other people's expense to bring you this news flash. The fake inspector has been captured. Here is his picture. If a health inspector comes to your restaurant and he's not this guy, he's real.
However, there's a problem. Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob actually think that they've killed the health inspector. Worried for their lives, they decide to bury the body before anyone can find out, which makes them all the more nervous when they encounter the police.
Stop right where you are. I'm afraid we're gonna have to arrest the two of you.
Mr. Krabs, I'm too young to go to jail.
And what would be the charges?
For not being at the Krusty Krab to whip us up a couple of delicious Krabby Patties.
Shouldn't they be, finding actual criminals?
Hey, when has the Bikini Bottom police ever been good?
We're gonna straighten you out!
This'll fix you! Now let's get that one!
Good point.
Unfortunately, the body finds its way back to the sponge and the crustacean. Even more nervous now, they try to find a way to hide it from the fuzz. Eventually, they confess when the policewoman goes to the freezer for ice.
We killed the health inspector! Buried him and then stuffed his body in the freezer!
But our heroes find out that the health inspector the whole time was actually a zombie!
It's the zombie!
What a twist!
Okay, that's not what happened.
They find out that he's not a zombie, they pass the inspection, and the inspector gets his head in on the door. Again, the plot was nonsensical, and it didn't have any clear message to it other than...
Yes, there are idiots out there.
But it was an incredibly entertaining episode nonetheless.
There are tons of highlights in this episode, but we chose this famous scene as the highlight.
Free food!
Gooby 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 Gabba!
Speaking of murder, here's an episode that tries to kill off not a minor, but a major character in the show. Dying for pie. Squidward, one day at work, gets nagged by Mr. Krabs to do something nice for SpongeBob for Employee Brotherhood Day. Out of ideas, and not really caring, he gets him a pie from a group of pirates. And this happens. Yes, as it turns out, the pie is actually a bomb. Well, that would have been nice for Squidward to have known, right?
They're bombs.
Squidward, you're a moron.
SpongeBob eats the pie before Mr. Krabs and Squidward can warn him. Feeling horribly guilty, Squidward decides to make SpongeBob's last day fantastic by doing everything SpongeBob has ever wanted to do with him. As you can imagine, it's not pleasant on Squidward's part.
Turn left and stop. See? That's what it'd be like if you had me for a face.
I can't breathe. Are you sure you should be poking at my back?
Who's the doctor here?
The final thing on the list is to watch the sunset with Squidward, which, of course, he's dreading since Mr. Krabs told him that SpongeBob would get killed at sunset.
The way I see it, the lad's got until sunset before that bomb hits his lower intestine.
Hey, it's Mr. Krabs. Hi, Mr. Krabs.
So, of course, this happens.
And hundreds of crying kids start sobbing on the spot. Oh wait, guess not. As it turns out, SpongeBob never even ate the pie.
I was saving it in my pocket for us to share. Let's eat.
This episode, while rather dark at some points, maintains the fun and humorous charm and wit to it throughout. It's also one of the few times Squidward is shown as a sympathetic character and actually does something for someone.
The highlight is when Squidward realizes that SpongeBob didn't actually blow up.
Squidward, we already played Babble like an idiot.
Why are you still here?
Well, since we finished everything on the list, I thought I'd make up a new one. I already filled up this book with ideas. We should be able to finish by January.
Fuck yes, the fuck!
Gooby, 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 gooby!
A great thing about the show is that many of the episodes have a conflict that kids can really identify with. For example, the episode Suds plays with the childhood fear of the doctor.
SpongeBob gets a cold after leaving the fridge open all night, and it gets so bad that he can't even go to work.
Nothing personal, lad. I just can't have you sneezing all over my food! Wait!
Sandy decides to take SpongeBob to the doctor after he tells her about his illness, but Patrick comes along and tells him about the true horrors of the doctor.
Well, first, they make you sit in the waiting room.
Is that the horrible part, Patrick?
No, it gets worse. They make you read old magazines.
Terrified, SpongeBob decides to have Patrick look after him instead. While he temporarily ends his problem, he just makes SpongeBob's pain worse when he tries to hide it from Sandy. She easily finds out about it, and Sandy and Patrick fight over him.
Shiny times.
Mr. Krabs!
SpongeBob? Stop! SpongeBob! Stop! Oh.
I just realized something. Despite having great food, eating there comes with a price. Either there will be troubles with the employment, or the establishment will be destroyed. Either way, it's risky.
SpongeBob does eventually get taken to the doctor, but finds out that it's not unpleasant at all. In fact, he comes out feeling better than expected.
I feel as good as new. I love the doctor.
This episode toys with the old childhood fear of the doctor's office, but also shows that it's not that bad. It's difficult to do both at the same time, but they somehow manage to do it very well.
The highlight of this episode is when Patrick gets his comeuppance.
Hey, Doc! I got the suds, too!
Oh, yes, Dr. Patrick. We have a special treatment for you.
Hey! Wait! Ouch! That hurts! Wait! This doesn't seem right!
Gooby, 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 gooby!
No Weenies Allowed is an episode famous for many reasons, but the reason why no one ever brings up the rather important moral is because it's rather subtle. I'll get to it after the episode analysis.
After some beginning filler of SpongeBob sparring with Sandy and failing, they end up learning about a tough club known as the Salty Spittoon.
Only the baddest of the bad can get in. You need to have muscles. You need to have muscles on your muscles.
Wouldn't those just be more muscles?
SpongeBob tries to get in, but can't because of his poor strength, so he's instead sent to Weenie Hut Juniors.
Weenie.
What? But I'm not a weenie.
I'm sorry, sir, but my sensors indicate that you are indeed a weenie.
He tries repeatedly to get in through various attempts, such as buying a wig, getting in a fight, and pretending to be a tattoo. Eventually, he gets the help of Patrick so he can fake a fight, which causes this famous scene.
You're going down, Tubby.
Tubby? Nobody calls me Tubby!
And a meme was born. SpongeBob is finally able to get into the club because he apparently beat up Patrick without even hitting him. As soon as he goes in, he gets beat up.
Sandy? Oh, what happened?
You ran inside and slipped out an ice cube.
Though subtle, I think this presents a very good moral. The overall message, in my opinion, is that you can't rush in for something you're not ready for. Life will constantly give you hints that you can't just yet, but if you challenge it, you will pay the consequences.
Even if you ignore the moral, this episode was pretty good. The humor, whether it be visual or character-driven, was very entertaining and well done. The highlight was undoubtedly the third time SpongeBob ends up in Weenie Hut Juniors.
Weenie.
I am not a weenie.
Relax. You're among friends.
My friends don't hang out at Weenie Hut Juniors.
You tell him, SpongeBob.
Patrick, what are you doing here?
I'm always here on Double Weenie Wednesday.
Actually, they moved Double Weenie Wednesday to Friday.
And besides, today's Monday.
Oh, so it's Mega Weenie Monday?
That's now on Sunday.
Barnacles.
Super Weenie Hut Juniors has a Mega Weenie Monday.
No, you're thinking of Monster Weenie Monday?
I don't have time for this.
Goofy, goofy, super Goofy!
Some episodes in this show are actually much funnier to us now that we're older. A prime example of this is Squid on Strike. In this episode, Mr. Krabs gets cheaper than ever, and actually starts charging his workers for goofing off.
You're making me pay you to stand at the cash register?
There's gonna be a few changes around here. Every time I catch you two goofing off, I'm gonna charge you for it.
Fed up, Squidward convinces SpongeBob to go on strike with him, despite SpongeBob not knowing what a strike is. They proceed to take part in various striking jobs, such as making signs, desecrating their uniforms, and getting the support of the public. However, none of it works.
SpongeBob, it's unfair, not fun fair.
A fun fair? Where? Oh, I could go for some fun.
At the Krusty Krab.
Hey, everybody. Let's go to the fun fair.
Look, I threw my head on the ground.
Aha! A confession! Next time, think before you litter.
Wow! All this supporting is making me hungry!
Hey, everybody. Let's go get a Krabby Patty.
Despite their attempts actually helping Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob and Squidward remain vigilant. That is, until Squidward hears this.
And me and Squidward are gonna stay on strike until we get what we deserve, even if it takes forever! 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 Forever!
Having second thoughts, Squidward decides to beg for his old job back. But he doesn't get the chance, since Mr. Krabs is desperate for them to come back. As smug Squidward negotiates, SpongeBob takes Squidward's protesting metaphors way too literally.
I will dismantle this oppressive establishment board by board. I will saw the tables of tyranny in half. Gnaw at the ankles of big business.
Wow, this is one anti-capitalist episode.
Commies. The next morning, Squidward and Mr. Krabs return to find what's left of the Krusty Krab, which gets Mr. Krabs furious.
In order to pay off these damages, you two are gonna work for me forever!
Since we first saw this episode when we were just kids, we just acknowledged it as being a kind of funny episode. Nowadays, since we're older and know what a strike is, we find it hilarious. This episode takes a rather common issue of our country and lampoons it until the cows come home. SpongeBob is the kind of show that, while being family-friendly, isn't afraid to throw adult humor at us as well, and this episode is a great example of that.
The highlight of this episode is the scene where Mr. Krabs presents his case to Squidward.
The teenagers I hired is ruining the place, and the worst part is, they won't leave me alone!
All right, Mr. Krabs!
Goofy, goofy, super Goofy!
While many moments in the show have made allusions to timeless media and pop culture, only one episode was based entirely around that. That episode was Clams, a clever parody of the Spielberg drama Jaws.
This episode opens up with Mr. Krabs making his $1 millionth, a huge milestone in his career.
Every Krabs goal in life is to make $1 million, and now I got mine!
As a reward to SpongeBob and Squidward, Mr. Krabs takes them on a trip. What kind of trip, you may ask?
Clam fishing. This is the reward we get for all our hard work. Fishing for stinky clams in a smelly old boat on a filthy lagoon.
Yep. That's it.
After SpongeBob's poor fishing skills ends up tossing several things overboard and gives Squidward a nose castration, Mr. Krabs ends up losing his $1,000,000th.
Reel it in before I keyhole ya!
After breaking the fourth wall, Mr. Krabs loses his $1,000,000th to a giant clam. Squidward and SpongeBob take pity on him. I don't blame them, just look how pathetic he is. And decide to help him get it back. But their efforts are fruitless when 3 days goes by without anything happening.
We've been here for 3 days and haven't gotten a nibble. This is hopeless!
Yeah, and I've got to get home to feed Gary.
After trying to trick Mr. Krabs and alluding to Moby Dick, they realize that Mr. Krabs has gone nuts.
Squidward, you've lost something near and dear to him, haven't you?
Look again.
They try to escape, only to be captured. Mr. Krabs decides to use them as bait for the clam, this time using the music that summoned the clam originally. Though, this does raise the question, why didn't he just use it before?
Anyway, Mr. Krabs gets the $1 back, but is eaten in the process. Luckily, he comes back thanks to Deus Ex Machina.
Oh, Blue Lips is quite the fighter. So eventually we settled on a trade.
What'd you get him?
Nothing important.
This episode was probably the only episode that consistently parodied something, but it did it very well. The motivation of the original movie characters was there, but it was made funny when the characters were swapped out for SpongeBob, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs. SpongeBob always knew how to do parody jokes right, and this episode is the pinnacle of that.
The highlight of this episode is when Mr. Krabs realizes that SpongeBob and Squidward are trying to trick him.
Wait a minute. This isn't me $1 million. This is an ordinary dollar that's been crumpled up, torn slightly, soaked in a lagoon, and kissed with coral blue number 2 semi-gloss lipstick.
Actually, it's coral blue number 2.
Gooby, 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 gooby!
And now, what I like to call the spiritual prequel to Battle for Bikini Bottom, Crab War.
The episode opens with SpongeBob watching a scary movie about robots, and subsequently gets nightmares about it. The next day, as he works, he gets increasingly paranoid about robots taking over the world.
Robot, oh my gosh! There you go! Enjoy your... So you're not a robot, are you? I surrender! Oh.
While that goes on, Mr. Krabs gets addicted to a techno song he hears on the radio. As SpongeBob hears him talk about it, he starts to suspect Mr. Krabs of being...
a robot.
Come on, little buddy, play it again. Please. Beep boop boop bop. Boop boop beep bop.
SpongeBob tries to warn Squidward, but he, of course, is skeptical. So he tries 3 different tests to prove Mr. Krabs is a robot.
What is it, SpongeBob?
I just wanted to tell you that Squidward loves you.
And Krabs-Squidward shipping was born.
Squidward finally believes SpongeBob after Mr. Krabs has an accident. No, that comes later. So Squidward and SpongeBob decide to take matters into their own hands.
Well, in the movie, the hero teams up with a buddy, and they get the poop on the robot.
I never thought I'd say this, but SpongeBob, let's get that poop.
People order our patties.
That also comes later.
SpongeBob and Squidward attempt to get Robo-Krabs to tell them where Mr. Krabs is, but they don't actually start pressuring him until they start destroying his expensive appliances.
No, not be closer. That cost me $32.50. 62.67. Well, actually, that one was a gift. No!
However, when they threaten to destroy the cash register, the truth comes out.
I thought you said robots can't cry.
I also said they couldn't love.
I loved it like it was me own.
This episode was nothing short of creative. Like the Nasty Patty, it created a deep story and message for hilarious non-stop humor. This is another episode where the jokes are really character-driven, and where most of the jokes come from Squidward's reaction to SpongeBob's outrageous theories and whatnot.
The highlight of this episode is SpongeBob's first attempts to interrogate Mr. Krabs.
SpongeBob, you gotta ask him a question first.
Oh yeah, what color is my underwear?
SpongeBob, let me handle this.